think we have 5-0 again today, and that's good. See, I guess we start with Mr. Burrow on his information he's got for maybe Mr. Stokes.
I'll go ahead first. I got a few little things for give Mr. Stokes. Little update, KHSAA voted last week on Winter Sports, and we're going to follow them. The governor wasn't happy with it, but I guess he didn't turn them down. But the basketball started practicing yesterday. They could start January 4th, but with that, I want to give everybody some idea what our gym fan participation is going to be like, because indoor is a lot different. Our main goal is, number one, the kids play if they get to play. The other part is how many people get to see them. That's going to be different throughout the course of the year, but the goal is for the kids to get to participate. And we may not, in one of our gyms, we won't have any fans, because we got at the beginning of January 4th for a while, we have 15% capacity. And so I'll start with the high school, kind of give you an idea, depending on the yellow, orange, green, the red status. Everybody knows what the red status is on the map means. But mainly, I don't see a lot of our counties anywhere in the state going to get out of the red for a while. But you'll hear in a little bit, the governor is going to start opening up new protocols for going to school in the red here today at 1 o'clock. For us superintendents, I have Miss Brackett going to watch it because we're in here while we're in here. Then at 3 o'clock, he's going to announce it on his briefing to the state. So the red status with a basketball game, we're going to take very serious, either us or the other team we're playing. At the gym at the high school, we will always do the health questions and temperature checks as they come in. The tickets will be GoFan. They'll be electronic. We won't be handing money. You'll have to have a ticket. The issue is 2 tickets per McLean County athlete, 2 tickets per visiting athlete, 2 tickets per McLean County coach, 5 tickets for the visiting coaching staff, 2 tickets for McLean County cheerleader. Band, student section, and concession stand is prohibited. We can't have those because we only have about 180 people in the gym. That's including the teams and the coaches, administrators, anybody else working. It includes all the numbers. So that comes out to about that number. And it opens up more if we go to orange. It opens up more if we go to yellow. The middle school is a little different. We only have one side for fans, only one set of bleachers. And our 15% capacity on that is around 66, I think. Right now, if we're in red, the middle school, the kids get to play. There'll be 3 tickets. Pretty much, if it's in a red, we can't have fans, because that includes the teams, coaches, administrators, clock keepers, and everything, and referees. They can't have fans in red at the middle school. We don't have enough seat with the capacity level. But I think Miss Foster's come up with a way where they're going to stream it. Is that correct, Miss Foster? Are you on here?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we're going to get media release forms for all of our players and cheerleaders, and then the opposing team will let them know. And then we're going to stream it live, and we're actually going to create a page that's for games on Facebook, so that way they can watch it live.
And if we get into orange, it opens up more, and yellow opens up more. I just wanted to make the public aware and the board members aware that, yes, the KHSAA is getting ready to start for the games January 4th, but we are still going, safety is still first on us, that we got to do, and just how we got to do it this time, and see if we get the kids to be able to play the sports. Next is the governor has ordered the superintendents to collect everybody in the schools in the district a list of people who want the vaccine, because educators are on the list of a high priority to getting. I think it comes to the nurses, long care facility staff and people, then frontline workers, EMS, and educators. I think that's how it rolls. And we have to compile a list of who wants the vaccine. To make perfectly clear, I will not mandate anyone have the vaccine. Only time mandate is going to be if it comes from a legislative level. Somebody mandates above me. We're here for it. I can't do it. Liability, legal issues, and everything else. It's just we have to compile a list. I think once we get the list, we're going to get more guidance on that today. I think I just saw where we got some guidance on it. I haven't been able to read it because it just came out. But that list, I think, is more how many shots are going to need to be for our educators and staff. So that's that part. Today, the governor's going to give us guidance for in-person. He's recommending no in-person, all in-person till at least January 11th. We weren't going to start January 4th. We weren't going to come back all at once. I was going to just start doing a soft opening because we got Christmas break. You saw what happened in McLean County after Thanksgiving break. The numbers went up. We're going to start slow, get the kids back into school at a slow pace. Around the 11th, we'll look at it again, see where our numbers are, see how everything this county's doing, and move a little bit. There's some guidance that he put out yesterday that he hasn't gave us any information on. We're going to get it about an hour or two before the public does. It doesn't give us a whole lot to prepare, but he basically said that we mandated now to follow the Healthy at School, which we pretty much were doing mostly anyway, and no in-person to January 11th. So that's the two things he gave us yesterday. Today, the guidance is this. He's going to tell us what the fine tooth is. So Jody's going to log off about 1 and start getting on that. So we'll have some notes. See if there's anything else. Oh, and also he made it, I don't know if you see this, everybody's probably seen this before. I showed you before, the red and all what we have to do during in school and the red guidance, but he's made a more what's called an aggressive, a new aggressive thing. It's got the word aggressive in front of it. We haven't figured out what that is. He's going to tell us today what's in that. So I'll be more able to give you information after today's guidance on Thursday of what's new, because we're getting information today. Last thing, Mr. Stokes needs to give you a little quick information about some of our SEEK funding that we received. The state played some smoke and mirrors, but I'll let him go with it.
Thank you, Mr. Burrow. Members of the board, on December 3rd, I was part of a meeting with the state, and they let us know that the state budget director, not KDE's budget director, but the state budget director, released $130 million to KDE the 1st of December to disperse to school districts. And that sounds great at first until you find out that what they're going to do is cut SEEK by $130 million. So McLean County's prorated amount of the $130 million is $320,000 and $320,342. We received that money in December in lieu of part of our SEEK money. So they will actually cut our SEEK in the remaining months of fiscal year 21, which is this school year, to equal out that 320,000 and change. So to be crystal clear, there's no additional funds there. They've just replaced our SEEK with these coronavirus relief funds. So there was a little caveat they threw on there. We also have to have it expended by 12/30, in 27 days. So, and I actually just got off the phone with Che Ritter just to go on and clarify and to reiterate what our plans were to do this. And he said, yes, that's what we're recommending to all districts. We are actually going to go and code our electricity and our insurance premiums to these funds. We've already spent it. It's an amount that is more than $320,000. So we are really just recoding expenditures that have already happened so that we meet the criteria to receive these funds. They have been expended by December 30th. So what does this overall mean to our district? Well, it means, one, that we're not getting any more CARES funding, which we were hoping we were going to get some more relief funding. At this point, we are not. The state's going to use that money to basically plug SEEK. It also means that our budgets will be off. So it's going to look like at the end of the year that we are well under our budget in electricity and in our insurance premiums, but that's due to the regulations of receiving these funds that we had to have them spent. So also, in addition to this, we had a meeting in November with FEMA, and I personally spoke with Mickey Tresh. He's the FEMA officer out of New Orleans. And it does not look like school districts in Kentucky are going to receive hardly any FEMA funding at all. We were kind of aware of this, but now it's official. So again, what's this mean for us? It kind of means what we thought, is that we're going to use these CARE funds that we received last May. We used them to bridge our budget deficit, and that's all we're going to get. So this is normally something I would talk about during my treasurer's report, but since it's $320,000 of, like Mr. Burrow said, smoke and mirrors, we wanted you guys to be aware immediately that this is going on, and that our SEEK amounts are going to drop for the rest of the year, but that they've basically replaced the shortage with this Corona relief funds.
So David, basically, we're not going to get any more state funding.
Yes, ma'am. Well, it's federal funding, but they give it to the state, and then the state disperses it. So what you're saying, yes, I think we're on our own at this point, unless the federal government comes up with another package that involves school districts.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes,
Merry
ma'am.
Christmas to us, huh?
Yeah, that's a gift that keeps on giving.
Can't wait.
All right.
That's all I have for this week, for this luncheon.
All righty. Let's see. Looks like it's just consider approval of the bills for Thursday. I'd like to go over those. Or no, we don't go over those right now, do we?
But I think it's
Oh, wait.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Consider approval of November 19th special call board meeting on it. We have the minutes there. I don't know whether you need to read them or have already looked over them.
I'm good.
All right.
Me too.
All right. All right. Who wants to do that? Ms. Bones, you will make a motion?
I make a motion. I'm sorry. Go, Tommy.
We approve the minutes.
Okay, sorry.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes from November 19th.
All right. Thank you. And now then a second.
Second.
All right, Mr. Howard. All right, second. Okay. No other discussion. All signify by saying yes.
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 All right, that's a 5-0. All right, next item of business would be discuss the school calendar. And Mr. Troutman?
Yes, sir. Mr. Burrow, members of the board. What I have before you, I think all of you should have a copy of a calendar in your packet. Calendar committee met last week. For Senate Bill 50, we are required to develop a calendar committee that they lay out in detail as far as who is on that committee. And the committee unanimously voted to accept and present this calendar to the board. Just a friendly reminder that the board has the final say and gets to approve the calendar of their choice, but the calendar committee just has to be developed to present to the board. So long story short, opening day, that'd be the first day our teachers, staff start back to work would be on Tuesday, August the 3rd. The first day students would start school, we're anticipating, if we could have a normal year, would be August the 11th. As you all can see on this calendar in October, there would be a fall break. Every school district that touches McLean County, I have talked to their DPP, the person that typically makes the student calendar, and everyone is right now at least presenting to their board and recommending, and if all the boards that touch McLean County were to accept what they have in front of them, everybody would have the same fall break. So I just want to throw that out, that every county that touches McLean County would have fall break on October the 4th through the 8th. Again, that would be depending on that each of those local boards of education, those counties approved the calendar that was presented to them. The last day for students would be December 17th for first semester. We would start back January 4th on a Tuesday. Spring break, April the 4th through the 8th. And then the last day for students would be Thursday, May the 19th. Again, that would be provided, no snow days and back in the room.
Question, is that a good thing for all of us to have fall break at the same time? Is that on purpose, or, I don't know, because we didn't have fall breaks when I was in school. So, is that a good thing?
We try to line up. Yeah, we try to line up fall break and spring break as much as possible with surrounding counties. People that work in Owensboro and different for family. It's more for family and some of the OCTC. We try to keep up with the same with all the colleges too. Try to be on the same page.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
We used to be a week or two off from some of them, and a lot of the parents came really complaining about it. So they try to keep as close as we can with them. I think, like I said, work schedules and things.
Okay. Works for me. I don't care.
Doesn't affect us, does it, on that part?
I just think it's silly we ain't even in school a month or a full month and we already having fall break. I don't know why you need a fall break. Okay. That's good. I like it. I think it's good.
All right. Mr. Burrow?
Well, right now, that was just a discussion, and y'all be voting on that. You can take it home and look at it, and it can be voted on Thursday. That's just your discussion item, let you know what we're going to bring to you. Now, as you know, we have to, by law, we have to turn into KDE, Ashley does, a calendar. So this is a calendar, if you approve it, we turn in. By June, I think it is, isn't it, Ashley, that we have to give them the real calendar, what we did. So this is what if everything was perfect, this is what we do. We don't know what perfect's going to be. Kind of like this year, we had to go to variable calendar and everything else. So we just have to make one to put in. Then at the end of the year, we make what we really did. And because it's snow days, and then if the corona still prevalent, then but we have to. If all things were perfect, this is a calendar we're presenting you to start back school.
All righty.
Mr. Burrow, I have a question. And maybe Mr. Troutman, I'm assuming this spring, of course, that's the old calendar, what's the likelihood on makeup days is us doing virtual days instead of making them up and adding them on to the end of the year or other times?
Well, I've already told principals we have even this year we have 2 days on the calendar for makeup. I've already told them we're not going to use them on NTI days. We're going to use those makeup. the reason why I got to find bus driver, what to do with bus drivers. I got to find what to do to the cooks. We have to have extra things. If it goes past those 2 days, we're just going to do the NTI. But we have 2 days in the calendar to use. We're going to use them because if we make it up, those bus drivers and cooks have something to do too. Just hopefully we don't have a whole lot of snow days, and it's going to have to be really bad for the, we have the teachers coming in, so it's going to have to be real bad for me to send that. And sometimes I'm going to just tell you the truth. I hear it all the time. Our teachers are working their tails off harder on virtual than they would in the classroom. And it is not easy. And want to give them 2 days just to catch up on some things they need to do. And some of them have a hard time. A lot of them are working at school because of the internet service. So if we have the makeup, I'm going to use those makeups. If it goes into where we got to keep pushing back, we have NTI there anyway.
All right.
Okay.
Mr. Burrow, obviously the calendar committee just develops and submits this calendar. We don't come up with the makeup days, but I would like for the board to consider on this calendar we've presented for next year, it taken February the 21st and March the 18th. There's 2 days in next year's calendar that, again, on a normal year, and if we didn't miss school, we would be off those 2 days. Do we want and they could be thinking about this before Thursday night when they vote on, we could use those 2 days as makeup days for next year if they choose to.
That sounds good.
23rd, and what was the next date?
It would be February the 21st and Friday, March the 18th.
Okay. 21st. What day is that? I mean,
Monday.
That's a Monday, and what it's on is it's a professional learning day where teachers would come in, and what we've done in the past, if students come to school that day, then teachers just make up that day, typically either after school hours a couple of days, or they may even do it towards the end, after school is out.
okay. I guess I'm thinking of the 17th. That's one we have to take, isn't it?
January, yes.
Yes. Yeah.
We're looking at February the 21st and March 18th.
Yeah.
What's February 18th? Why do we not have one on that school day that day?
Typically, we have a whole lot of people in our county is at the state fair.
Okay.
Our attendance is miserable that day.
Okay. All right. And we're not approving this tonight either, or today, are we?
No.
Before Thursday. All righty. Is there any other discussion? All right. Moving on. I guess, Mr. Burrow, I guess we're ready to start on the agenda for Thursday.
Right. Mr. Troutman, you would like to go over the next one? I mentioned some of y'all want to pass by a minute ago that we have to have a local planning committee because we have to do every 4 years a district facility plan to turn in the state. It kind of gives our ranking and our needs of the district. 4 years ago, we took a waiver. The state approved a waiver, and you only could do a waiver one time in an 8-year period. So we're up now to get an architect and an engineer for this project because, I'll let Mr. Troutman tell the rest, but we have to pay a considerable amount of money every 4 years or 8 years when it comes up. This is the 8th one to do this, to turn into the state because we receive funds back from the state. So, Mr. Troutman?
Sure. Yes. Mr. Burrow, Mr. Miller, members of the board, we'll have on here consider approval for Clotfelter and Samakar to serve as our architect for the local planning committee for our district facilities plan. And in the manual, it talks about the price should be negotiated by the board between the architect and the board. Mr. Jackson is getting us some fine tooth numbers to present to you all, but it also gives a maximum. That maximum is 5 cents per evaluated square foot. Roughly, we have about 370 to 375,000 square feet. So a max cost would be around $19,000. It by law, it can't go over that. But he is looking at, since he has recently already looked at Calhoun Elementary, because we're doing that HVAC project now, and because this building, the central office, is fairly new and they designed this one as well, he says you may not have to do a full valuation, which may be able to reduce some of that price.
Okay. Any questions?
I've got like the next 4. Do you want me to start going through the next?
Go ahead.
That'll be fine, yes.
The next one that'll be on the agenda, B, is consider approval of the bids for Calhoun Elementary. You have a packet of information that was given to you all, and it should have a binder clip on it. And inside that binder clip are each different one is paper clipped. I think Christy had asked you not to get those out of order. And so if you open up the binder, the very first paper clip you come to is all addressing everything that you have to consider to accept the bids for Calhoun Elementary School HVAC project. The front sheet's probably the one that has the most information, probably the one that you really want to look at, and it's the 3 different companies that submitted bids for the Calhoun Elementary HVAC project. As you all can see, down at the bottom, the very bottom contractor was Mechanical Consultants. They had a base bid of $1,278,700, and then the alternate bid is when we specifically asked them, each contractor, to bid Train and Mitsubishi for the units. So you can see their bid on that is $72,000. They are the low bid with a total package price of $1,350,700. So I think that would be the company that Mr. Burrow is going to recommend to do the contracting work at Calhoun. But you have in that packet every contractor's price. You can see what they've done, and you can see all that stuff behind it. I'll go through every page if you want me to, but basically what it is Allied Contracting, Lanham Brothers, and Mechanical Consultants. It shows you all the breakdowns of their bids, what type of equipment they would have been using, any subcontractors that they will be using on the job. So I wanted you to have all the information, but again, I think Mr. Burrow's recommendation is going to be to go with Mechanical Consultants.
And just to clarify a couple more things. KDE makes you put a 5% contingency on top for unforeseen things that come up. We also been aware with our geothermal piping that we may have to go ahead and do while we're doing it. We may, Mr. Stokes is looking away, either use a capital outlay or adding another 5% on top of that. Go ahead and replace that geothermal loop line piping because it's almost 24 years old and PVC is not lasting very long these days. So we want to get upgrade to so we don't have a Niagara Falls and Calhoun Elementary at one point.
Right. Let's see. Have we used Mechanical Consultants before? I know we have Lanham.
Mr. Miller, not to my knowledge. Mechanical Consultants is a fairly local group. They're out of Owensboro, in Davis County is where their main company is located. But I am not certain that, to my knowledge, in the last 4 or 5 years that I've been serving in this role, I don't recall Mechanical Consultants doing any work for us.
Okay. The mechanical, and that, don't they have some McLean County ties too, or some of them?
There are several people that work there that live in McLean County. Matter of fact, the person that was the main person doing the bidding that did all the calculations is a McLean County graduate.
Okay, that's what who I was thinking it was. But anyway, it looks like a good price. I think those are reputable people. I've seen some other work that they've done at other places before.
Mr. Troutman, are our architects comfortable with mechanical consultants?
Yes, sir, they are.
Okay, that's the main thing. As long as they probably know an inside we don't know, and if they're comfortable with them, then I think they probably and then the things that Wendell mentioned makes them a good candidate.
Right.
Mechanical consultants, of course, they all have to give references and stuff like that. They've done, as well as some of the other people that bid, but they have done a lot of school systems, HVAC projects very recently. Within the last 3 to 5 years, they have really stepped up and won the bids and the low bid and did phenomenal work as far as what the references are showing in public schools throughout the state of Kentucky.
Hey, Mr. Riggs, just to let you know, I received an email from our architect with a letter that stated that his recommendation to me would be mechanical consultants.
Good. That's good.
And you all have that in that packet. In fact, that first packet, the very back page is that letter from Mr. Jackson that says he's reviewed, they've met all their criteria turned in, based on references and whatnot. So yes, in that packet, the very back page is that letter that Mr. Burrow referred to that says that even our architect, Mr. Scott Jackson, does recommend mechanical consultants.
All right. Sound like we need to pick mechanical consultants.
Item C, the next item under construction would be, we're going to consider approval to accept the test and balancing proposals. Basically, what we'll have after this HVAC system is put in, we want a third party. This group of people would be working for us to see if the contractor had any mistakes or leaks in the piping or ductwork of the new HVAC system. So that's something that's very typical on HVAC, is that you would bring a third party in. So our architect had proposals for bids, did that on our behalf. He had 2 different bids come in. You can see that on the very front sheet, Performance Commission Agency with a bid of $19,450, and the Facility Commissioning Group with a bid of $21,390. Again, behind all that is all the information that each one of those groups would do. And Mr. Jackson has a letter written to Mr. Burrow. He says he is recommending Performance Commission Agency to do that service for us.
Performance, what was it again? What was the name of it again?
Commissioning Agency.
All right.
Where are they from, Mr. Troutman?
I picked up the wrong thing out of order. So C is for the test and balancing. I picked up the wrong packet out of order. C is for test and balancing proposals, and the test and balancing proposals would be the small packet that you have that's paper clipped together, where they receive 2 bids of the thermal balance and one from Synergy Test and Balance. And our architect is recommending that we go with a thermal balance in the amount of $10,640. So my apologies, I got ahead of myself. The one I presented first is for D, and I'll go back over that. But for the testing and balancing, and again, that is for checking for leaks. That would be checking for air balance. That would be checking for the water balance in the geothermal system. They would come in behind the contractors when they get through and get it installed to make sure it meets the specifications that on down the road, our HVAC system, especially our geothermal system, would not have any leaks. And again, they're testing to make sure in every classroom, those air ducts, there's so many CFIs of airflow that has to come through that duct. So they would be checking things like that for us to ensure that the job that our contractor has done meets the standards.
It is something that needs to be done, checks and balances. You don't want the same person that puts it in as doing the checking. This is something we need done, and it is done across every district for checks and balances.
Okay. Any questions, anyone? Well, Mr. Troutman, I guess you got another one, don't you?
B is the proposal for commissioning of the HVAC equipment. That was the one I went through first. I had them out of order. So
Yeah.
this again is looking at going with performance commissioning agency in the amount of $19,450. And again, there's information that goes back there that talks about what all they will do. Again, they're coming back in behind, checking stuff and certifying parts of the equipment that we're getting, what we're getting.
Are we ready for E?
The BG one.
Yeah.
And then on E, we've already done a BG1 for this project, but we're going to have to do a revision of the BG1 since the actual construction project costs have now come back. So you will have before you a revised BG1 that's going to reflect, again, they predicted that the construction cost would come back at 1.6 million. So we had to put that in there as a prediction. And now that we actually have construction cost, and then on Thursday night, whatever construction company you approve, but with the recommendation of mechanical consultants, we have written a BG1 that would reflect those actual numbers.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Troutman. Any questions on the projects before we move on?
All righty. If not, then guess we'll go down to consent agenda. Be approving the special called
Today's
board meeting. And then consider approval of fundraisers.
Well, I think there's a grant. I got a different agenda. Yeah, the grant amendments, Ms. Brackett, and comprehensive district improvement plan, Ms. Brackett, are next.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Barrow on the board. I have some grant amendments I'm submitting where we received our final Title I and Title II allocations for this year. And they decreased our allocation for Title I by $2,478, and they decreased our Title II allocation by $1,303. So we had to find some places that we would take that money out of our proposed budget. With that, what we did is we looked for areas that we might not would spend money right now. We looked at mostly travel expenses and substitute expenses, things like that, because we're not doing those things with COVID. So we tried to take those out, and you should have that attachment somewhere that in your information. Also, we're looking to just transfer some money. We did not spend all of our ESS money last year due to going home on March 16th for COVID. So the remaining we have a small balance left in that fund, and we're transferring it to an operational account, which we'll use for the same purposes, but it keeps us from losing that money because we don't have it spent by December 30th. So we will still use that money in the same way to help our school support some extra services for our students. So those are the grant amendments I'm asking for approval on. The next, does anyone have any question on those?
No.
Okay. The next thing then on the consent agenda I have is approval of the McLean County District Improvement Plan. Last month, I shared with you information from our needs assessment, which if you remember, we were light on data due to not having all of our state testing last year. And one of the things that the state has recommended we might do for our improvement planning process this year is continue our goals from last year and strategies and activities. So we did have a district meeting where we reviewed all of our goals and strategies and activities. So Ms. Case has attached our actual plan for you, but she's also given you a handout where I listed the goals for you so we could just review the goals. The first goal is about proficiency, and I just want to remind you what proficiency is for at this point in our state accountability system, which I will tell you that that's going to be changing again as legislation has changed in the last year. But as of right now, our proficiency goal is written, and that is for students how we perform in math and reading. They talk about the proficiency levels of math and reading. So by 2022, McLean County Schools will increase the proficiency indicator as measured by the school report card to 82.6 for elementary, 84.8 for middle school, and 57.5. So those are indicator scores in the state's accountability system. They're not necessarily percentages. That's a combined score with some calculations on how we've done with math and reading of what we're hoping. Those are our goals for by the year 2022. And as I said, these are carried over from last year. Our goal 3, which I put right under goal 1, even though I know 2 comes before 3, is because it is also involves math and reading. It is our growth goal, and with the state accountability system, they look at growth for math and reading are the 2 areas. And most of our strategies and activities for math and reading fit for both of those goals. Goal 2 then is what we call the separate academic indicator goal. And that in the state accountability system represents how we're doing with science, social studies, and writing. So that goal then, goal number 2, is by 2022, McLean County Schools will increase the separate academic indicator as measured on the school report card to 75.8 for elementary, 79.6 for middle school, and 69.3 for high school. Then our goal 4 is the achievement gap goal. And like I shared with you last month when talking about our needs assessment, that in McLean County, our area of gap that we look at the most is our students with disabilities. So we have written the goal and carried that from last year. McLean County Schools will increase the average combined reading and math proficiency rates for students with disabilities to 49.45% for elementary, 36.45% for middle school, and 21.5% for high school by the year 2022. And our goal number 5 is a goal that just addresses the high school, and that is transition readiness. And our goal for that is McLean County Schools will increase the transition readiness rate to 90% by the year 2024. This is one of our areas of strength over the past several years. As you'll notice, we have a higher goal there, wanting to reach 90%. And then goal 6 is the graduation rate goal. McLean County Schools will increase the average 4- and 5-year graduation rate to 97.5% as measured by the school report card by 2022. Again, our graduation rate is one of our strengths as well. As you will notice, we have a higher goal in that percentage area. Also on your handout, you'll see that to the right of the goals, I've put out what our focuses are so that you would know what subject areas we're looking at for each of those goals. And as I reviewed when we talked about the needs assessment, is that our focus for our key core work processes are key core work processes 1 and 2. And those are both concerning designing and deploying standards, and designing instruction. So those are our focuses. And what we have added, as we carried most of our plan over from one year to the next, we did add some things in our plan to help provide our teachers and students with extra support as we continue to grow in remote learning. So those are some areas that within the activities we already have embedded, we did add a little detail of how we're going to provide extra professional development support, as well as technology and things to help support as we're in the situation we're in right now, growing our remote learning.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You.
I'm sorry, Mr. Miller. I must have not got the I guess fundraisers came in after I received my agenda. So, and you want to talk anything about fundraisers, Mr. Troutman?
Sure. They're all the normal fundraisers. Everything is been accepted by the school principal, and everything talks about a way to distribute those goods that are COVID safe. It would be no contact with people. Most of them, like one's a Kroger card. When people go shopping, that money would automatically come back to the high school for moot court. A fruit sale, it's done online, and whoever buys from it, then the fruit is delivered to the home. So it's none of our kids going door to door. The basketball team doing a free throw a thon where they would shoot free throws in practice. And then apparel sale again. I think that would be. Oh, there was one. The high school is wanting to sell some of their shirts and sweatshirts, and says they would pick up and have a process that would involve no contact with students or individuals.
Okay. All righty. Thank you. Any questions? All righty. I guess
We're on E now.
E.
Mental health grant.
All right.
Is Miss Turley on here?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
The amendment actually is due to the fact that you've already originally approved this amount, I think, in the working budget, but at the time the state hadn't published the funding matrix where we could identify the codes that were allowable. So of course, the majority of this grant is simply for salary cost. So this approval is just to establish those amounts by line item. So you've already approved the amount. This is just establishing the actual budget for the mental health grant.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
No questions. All right. I think what, Miss Lindsay?
Yes, Mr. Miller, Mr. Burrow, members of the board. I have two employees that have requested FMLA. One is already returned back to work, and excuse me. The other one is a maternity leave after the first of the year. These are just routine FMLA requests.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And then we've already discussed about the calendar. Is there any other things we need to discuss on it? Pretty thorough, I think. There's no questions on it. Well, we'll move on to approval of bills. Y'all have that. Take a look at it when you get home. See if there's anything special needs to come out. Is there anything, Mr. Burrow, that you know of that might flag for us to look at?
Pretty much, if there was something, I don't think Mr. Stokes would have it on the bills to pay.
Okay.
That's the way I look at it.
All right.
There was one. I just had a quick, and it just jumped out. Where was it at? It was something to the Kentucky Treasurer on the next to the last page. Incorrect payment or something.
Round the number.
It was 51.
Code 51.
Last
The-
page,
When the
63.
when the national school program switched over back to summer feeding, they went back and reclassified our first few days of school and our payment on those and sent it to us.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they sent us the monthly amount, they sent it to us again. So they
Oh.
incorrectly paid us 85. I believe it was 8508 or 8580. It was
Okay.
over $8,000. And so we just had to send them a check back for it. They
Okay.
overpaid us that amount.
Okay. I was just Kentucky Treasurer. What's that?
All right. And next is, let's see, consider approval of new hire fees for background checks.
Well, you know how hard it is to get people to employ people in education, getting jobs. They just made it a little harder. We used to fingerprint people here, then send it off, and it was $33.25. We paid for classified, certified, had to pick that up. Now state police is not taking those anymore. You can only go to, now we hire somebody, they have to drive either to Massillville or Owensboro. I think it's the state post to do it there. They upped it to $51.25. I'm coming to you to recommend these two things. We still want to pick up the classified. I mean, that's just try to get that point. But also we would like to reimburse up to like $20, $25. We have whatever, I think it's 25 we talked about, back to the certified to get it, I mean, if they're wanting a job, they're just upping the price on the people that don't have a job. So we want to, and it comes out to a minute number. I think, David, you gave me a number the other day, top of your head, or use your phone.
If the board approves this, it'll probably cost us between an extra $2,200 and $2,800 a year. And we're currently paying about $2,500, so potentially it'll double the cost. But we feel like it will help recruiting if we at least pick up all of the classified and part of the certified now.
Okay, Ms. Bumpus?
Well, this is just me, but the classified. Okay, I need that explained to me again. Classified are like our teachers, right?
No, certified teachers.
Certified's the teachers.
Yes.
Classified are
Aides, cooks, bus drivers.
okay. So we're paying half for the certified
Mhm.
and all of the classified.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay, that's good.
All right. All right, and then the next thing would be consider approval of a board member representative to serve on the local planning committee. Would anyone like to volunteer for that? We'll vote on it Thursday night, but it's mostly listening and asking some questions on it. They'll be going to each facility. This will be
When do they normally meet?
There'll be at least a minimum of 3 public meetings. So, and those meetings have to be after 5:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. So you asked, typically we hadn't done one. Most of the time we either pick like a Tuesday or Thursday night, and we normally, start about 6 o'clock. I would say the first couple of meetings would be an hour to an hour and 15 minutes in length. And as Mr. Miller said, we will try to meet at different facilities. All of our meetings won't be at the same place. So like at one time, we may go to the high school, or another time may go to one of the elementary schools. So if there's things there at that specific school that our architect or the facilitator really wants to point out, we're already there in the building. We can go show the group.
Okay. Well, I can't do that because I'm working night shift. So I'm sorry. I would do it otherwise, but I can't do that because of
this would be for next year, wasn't it?
It doesn't matter. I'm working night shift.
I know, but I mean,
We'll probably start those meetings as early. I would like to start in February, realistically, it'll probably be March before we have our first one, but we're going to try
Okay.
to start as soon as our architect gets us enough information to get started. I want to have the committee lined out now so that as soon as we're ready to start meeting, we can. So
Okay.
sometime mid-February to at least 1st of March, we'll have our first meeting.
All righty. Ms. Bumpus says she wouldn't be able to do that. Mr.
No.
Howard?
Yes, I'll do it.
You did? All righty.
Thanks, John.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll officially vote on it.
I'll talk myself out of it by Thursday.
Too late now. Too late. You had too many witnesses.
We're good.
All right. Is there anything else need, Mr. Burrow?
I think everything else is a normal, ending, treasury reports, and board member comments.
All righty. Does anyone have anything else? We do have the superintendent's evaluation as soon as we adjourn here.
I think there's one more on the day's meeting. Miss Lindsay has OCR report.
Oh, I'm sorry. Once we kicked over to this one, I forget all about the other one. All righty.
Well, I wanted to take a little bit of time to explain this process because not all of us were in on the beginning of this, but back in 2016, there was an allegation against our website that was reported to the United States Department of Education, Office of Civil Rights, saying that it was not accessible for those with vision and hearing impairments. So this was a major push throughout the nation. There were thousands of reports at this time. We were the first round of schools that were had an allegation brought against us in the state of Kentucky. There were several more after us. Within this, we had to come up, we had to participate in a voluntary resolution agreement. Within this agreement, we had to hire an auditor that would audit our website. We had to create trainings and train anyone that had anything to do with the website, and it had to be done annually. Had to create policies, procedures, and then meanwhile, we're cleaning up our website to meet all these specifications. We also had to create a corrective action plan for our district, which took probably close to a year and a half to get through that corrective action plan. Of course, for each step through there, we had to send evidence to OCR and get their approval to continue further. So back in June of 2019, which was probably going on 2.5 years into this process, we completed everything on our corrective action plan, and I sent a notification that we had completed, sent all documentation, and I was asking to be released at that point, and I did not hear anything until just this past month, November of 2020. They did apologize for the lack of communication, but they did say that there were just 3 small issues, and they were mainly with our web. I don't know the correct terminology. Jason, Mr. Bowman could tell you the correct terminology, but School Point is the one that services our website. And so it was with that service provider that these issues were, and that they were going to reach out to them. We also reached out. I had Mr. Bowman reach out to them just so they could be on the lookout, and let's get these issues taken care of so we can be released as quickly as possible. So last week, Mr. Bowman had received information from School Point saying that they had talked to OCR and they had sent out a couple of updates. So I feel like the issues have been resolved, but we're just waiting for OCR to contact us and say that we're released. Now, in this 4-year process, of course, our website leaves a lot to be desired. There's not a whole lot of information. Of course, you don't want to add a whole lot of stuff when you're trying to clean up and get them to approve that you're okay to move forward. So I'm hoping that once we get released, that we can get our website more presentable and more user-friendly so that it has all the information that the public, parents, students, and anyone else would want to have or see. But I used to give an update every single board luncheon, but haven't done that in about 2 years just because we were at a standstill. So I just wanted to bring you up to speed, and hopefully next month I can say that we're totally released.
All right, thank you.
Thank
Yeah, we haven't discussed anything on that for a long time, have we? All right. Anyone have anything else? All right. See, I guess, Mr. Burrow, we want to do a close, or we just adjourn?
You make it, you would, basically, you make a motion to go in closed session.
Okay,
And everybody would go to the, sit around on the tables at the boardroom.
okay.
Then call me back in, call me in there. Then we'll come back in open session.
All right, all right. Do I have anyone that would make a motion to go into closed session to conduct preliminary discussion relating to the evaluation of the superintendent?
I will make that.
Okay, Ms. Joyce, all right, do I have a second? Mr. Riggs?
Sure.
Okay, all right, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Opposed? All right, thank you. We're in
I
recess.
think, Mr. Bowman, can you pause the meeting until they ready to open back up?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
on Mr. Burrow, and all in all, considering the type of year we're having, everything was fine on it. But if someone wants to make any other statements or, okay. If not, do I hear someone to entertain a motion to adjourn?
Make that motion.
Ms. Bumpus? All right, thank you. Second?
Remember, she hadn't had any sleep.
Yeah. Need a second.
Second.
All right, Ms. Sutton, thank you. All in favor, say yes.
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 All right, we are adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.